Okay. This one goes out to no one. This is content no one wants. I'm just having a bit of an idea here. Oops, let's not add two of those. Look at how experimental this is. I didn't even think of what I was doing at all. I was hoping I could just stick a banner up here. I might do it command line style. That feels like the right way to stick a banner up here. Yeah, let's do the command line. Or show output of a command. Wow, what an installation. Oh, I don't even have my dot files installed. Yeah, I do. I totally have my dot files installed. Okay, I don't know why that's being weird. This is a virtual machine environment, so this is the first time I've used it. I'm setting it up. Okay, what is our current task? really gonna have to like save it as a different task and then change it back to get it to actually update. Oh my god, it doesn't know, it doesn't have tilde completion, does it? Incredible. Okay, so I'm updating the downloader. I have a better downloader that I'm temporarily calling DLX, but that's a bit lame. I would rather just have it all integrated into the same downloader. Uh, but the problem is my downloader looks like this. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. So I'm gonna try and refactor this a bit, get the crucial components into separate files, make it a little bit less of a giant mess. So some of the things we essentially can't avoid, things like the just database management, purchasing it, that kind of thing. So the actual download, I feel like we can probably refactor out. Can I just label this with space? Just to get that slightly off the edge. And of course I'm going to put it in Pet Me 64. The font for a discerning gentleman. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Well, that isn't the font I asked for. Okay, whatever. It's not worth the time to fix that. So this is one of the biggest chunks and is basically all junk. Well, no, it's not junk. It's important stuff, but it should not be in a separate file. Or it should be in a separate file. Man, I don't know how to talk. Okay, so all of this is based on the query. I think the query should still be there. What about UID? That's not even used. RID would have been checked earlier, but yeah, I need to pass in RID. I need to remind myself how I implemented arguments here. I should remind myself how I implemented arguments here in the actual dev environment instead of just doing that for my own benefit only. Seriously? Searching for my own package here. Arguments 1, okay. Hello, Joshua. Welcome to a probably a terrible idea experiment here. Dev time story hour. I'm not going to do this on my main channel, but I did open a channel just to do dev time story hours, so we'll see whether it continues to be a thing. Okay, that's actually arguments 1. Everything else, I think, is local. Through. The hell is through? Oh, through I declared. Okay, hooray! Hooray for variable declarations. Okay, and then everything else should be fine. Don't need a return here, obviously. And then we check if that's actually working. And then we don't go to a blank page. I should maybe record something longer than 0 minutes if I want to test the downloader. This is a test. Okay. This is a test. This isn't much of a recording, but it will have some actual recording. Joshua, I even put what I'm working on in the in a panel up here to be weird. Just refactoring the downloader. Basically, I made. In fact, I'll show it. I made a vastly improved downloader. Which isn't even loading right now, so that's cool. I made a vastly improved downloader that I can't show you because it didn't load. But the vastly improved downloader is in like a separate page, and it's just a giant it's a mess. It shouldn't be there. So I'm just refactoring it so I can have everything be in a single downloader page. Though right now, I think instead what I'm doing is figuring out why that didn't load. Although I'm pretty sure I know why that didn't load because I did some dev on it on a different system, and I probably haven't even made sure it's up to date. Oh, it's not actually going to be there because it was after failing. So let's just rethrow so I'll get an actual exception. I'll do it that way. Okay, let's see what's going wacky here. Line numbers are for cowards. I do appreciate when I get no line numbers in my output. Let's see if Chrome is willing to... Oh, wait. This time it at least gave me a stack trace. That'll do it. 161. Thanks, Chrome. Cool. Okay. Rethrowing is causing issues here. Let me just remove the catch branch entirely. Why do you sometimes give me a location and sometimes not? It's either... Error. Oh, well, that'll do it. Oh, I can't demonstrate it because I am refactoring the normal downloader and I screwed up the normal downloader and therefore this. Oops. It does use the normal downloader to download the actual data. So can't really demonstrate that in the middle of refactoring when I haven't actually correctly refactored. But in this case, the reason why that's failing is very, very simple. Yes. Yes, not actually having dl.jss available is going to make it highly unlikely that it actually... Okay, or not. Just... The hell? That is not how you use SQLi3 at all. Rec info. Oh, yeah. I knew I'd be missing something. Actually, you know what? The recording yeah, that's fine. Pretty much expecting this until I get the refactoring down pat, of course. Because I did not make it to be refactored. Keep doing that. URI name? What the hell is URI name? I see. It also uses the URI name there. What about safe name? Does this use safe name? Yes, it does. Okay, URI name and safe. You know what? Here's what I should do. Do this right. There we go. And with that, this should work too. Or not. Well, at least now I can debug why this isn't working. Hooray! Same error, so probably it's some of the other downloads that it uses that are using something I didn't really anticipate. It would be doing raw and info. And in the case of raw, I believe there's a specific track. Yes. The trick to refactoring is you just keep hacking away at it until it accidentally works. Config? The hell is config? Oh, as in like config, okay. I didn't realize I'd used any config info. Of course I've used config info there. How did any of that work without config? That's bizarre. Because it needs the repository for everything, doesn't it? It's the only way, Joshua. People think that development is anything but like hacking until it accidentally works, but that's the only way that anything works. Don't let anybody tell you lies. Now, the fact that that's 5 bytes isn't super promising. I don't have FFmpeg installed. Like I said, this is a virtual machine environment, so who knows what is and is not installed. I'm betting that 5 is actually the letters ERROR, now that I think about it. Yeah. CP is not defined. Oh, child process. While I'm at it, house standards is cproc, not CP. Do you use FS? Yes, you do. Regular FS, not promises. That had some bytes to it. That had some bits and bytes and such. Why isn't this actually being PetMe64? I don't understand. There's no other fonts to set. Whatever. All progress bars that freeze at 99% are my favorite progress bars. And now, behold, as I don't even use what I just installed. Yeah, okay, that looks like it's probably correct. God, no. Okay, we're gonna have to fix you up, Audacity. You and your default light mode. Light mode. Unacceptable. I don't think that sound is going through for you. You'll just have to take my word for it. Now, at long last, if I go like this, it should work. Or it'll fail somewhere else. Info is working fine too, so where is this failing? Oh, that's not JSON at all. Lol, what? Oh, I didn't... I didn't stop when I was done. I output the requested stuff and the entire web page. That's probably good. That's probably fine. There we go, finally. Frickin' finally. The one person who was watching is long since gone, but at least there's that. Okay. Now, I believe that all of this Mac mobile blah 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 stuff is only used by the default downloader. I just assume that anybody would leave this, Joshua. Yeah, okay, so this is like the main downloader screen. This can certainly be separated out. I don't know if dl.jss is the ideal name for that, because that I want to also call this dl.jss. I guess I'll call this dl interface. So now we're into the actual, like, web page. This part can probably always be there. Joshua, it is such a long and weird story. So this is on Ennuicastr. I wrote the Discord recording bot Craig, simply because there was a time when everybody used Mumble, and the nice thing about Mumble is that everybody can be recorded into a separate track. Like, it has a multi-track recorder built in, and but then everybody jumped ship and switched to Discord, which does not. And so, just out of sheer necessity, I built Craig, because I needed it. I needed this uh, I needed the capacity to do multi-track recording for my Let's Playing, and that eventually became untenable because Discord is like an it's just a nightmare from hell. And so I sort of spun out the recording part, and that became Ennuicastr. But I also just have like a lot of expertise in wow, did I actually wow, what am I from 1999? Nobody has written these protections on a script tag in forever. I also just have a lot of background with digital media, so it was just something that I'm very competent and capable to do. Okay, so I'd better get my mobile and such tags in here. Joshua, I'm going to, so this is going to sound extremely arrogant. It's so if you ask a programmer what programming languages they know and they can enumerate them, then they're not that good of a programmer. Uh, it because most programming languages are all kind of the same. Like there are a few paradigms, and once you understand the paradigms, learning a new programming language is nothing. So it would be more correct to assert that I know all programming languages, which obviously isn't true, than it would be to try to enumerate the programming languages I know. That being said, Ennuicastr is written mostly in JavaScript, of course, because it's a web app, and C, and TypeScript. Okay, so I doubt that recommend is used anywhere else. Which one do I prefer to use? I hate them all. I hate every programming language. So, TypeScript is radically practical. Like, TypeScript tries so little to be like the, next great programming language. It's just like, take all of the lessons we've learned, implement them, call it a day. And I love that. I love that about TypeScript. I just love that in general. So I think probably TypeScript is my least hated. uh, yeah, probably TypeScript. Okay, so this maybe sample function, yeah, and show DL, yeah, all of this. Sample post, not that somehow. Where does sample post go? Yes, that goes in there. Okay. Uh, I mean, I have programmed many things. But in terms of what I have written as Yaw Weasel, since I'm not particularly public, with my identity. Why is this just off? There we go. uh, let's see. libavjs. It's a lot of things are very like low level. But I'm quite proud of Contraptia. Contraptia is the AI puzzle game I wrote recently. You should go to contraptia.com if you haven't heard of it. Uh, yeah, but yeah, I've written a lot more in real life that I can't, that I will not elaborate on publicly because I don't. My online persona and my real persona are not the same person. I'm so like worried about getting functions in the wrong place here. Yeah. Feel free. It's not like I'm offended by having questions that I don't want to answer. It's just, bear in mind that there are questions I won't answer. Man, I am glad I'm doing this refactoring because this is like a nightmare. Okay, let's get these parts out. I swear I had Restream Chat looking different. Like, it's supposed to have uh, gray background so that I can actually see it, and it doesn't look right. I don't know why. That one doesn't look right. Yeah, all the time. Yes, I wish I could say that that's not like most of programming, Joshua, but that might be most of programming. Huh. I think I have to figure out why. It is. Oh, it is slightly grayed. It's just not as grayed as I thought it was. Maybe I need to enhance that a bit if I'm going to have text in the background. Let's get our arguments. It's more so. I mean, that's a fairly unfair way to put it, Joshua. The thing is, everyone is an idiot and terrible at everything, and that most certainly includes myself. And so, anytime you get into any software that you didn't write, it's not so much that like um, there will be more bugs, like, oh, magically I'm so great, I never write code with bugs in it, as that the moment you poke into it, you're getting into like other people's bugs, and so then it's like the combination of uh uh figuring out weird bugs, and they're not even yours. They're not even your bugs. Okay, this is probably close to how it should be. Why didn't I copy this? I don't know why I didn't copy this. So here's this header. This is all sort of crucial stuff. I might want to refactor it later, but for the time being, it's fine. Here's the main download interface. That's what I just refactored. Joshua, I do so little in the universe of game development that thinking of it from a development perspective, I don't think I really have an answer to that. It tends to be like, sometimes there are out and out bugs in games, and you should fix those, obviously. But it's usually more like this idea. You thought you were being clever, but it's just not actually a good idea. Oh, it's DL header that's. Oh, interesting. DL header is in both places. That's pretty ugly. But I can deal with that. I just need to provide DL header. As long as I don't have like too many things being passed in, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. reclib. I mean, I'm ultimately just going to have to get all of these requirements through the errors, but I may as well try and get the obvious ones. And I mean, so a lot of it, Joshua, as much as I, enjoy whining about games, a lot of it is just like games are art rather than tools, and art, like screwing up art isn't the same as screwing up tools. I basically don't tolerate software that isn't open source uh, in my day-to-day life. I obviously have to use some of it, but I use as little as possible. But I don't care at all for games because they're not tools; they're art. And copyright was actually intended for art. So okay, so now I'm into the weeds here. Oh, but the weeds is in DL interface. Ugh. The hell? Why is this here? That's the normal downloads. The video box is here? And the transcription block. Oh, this is... Okay, so I copied this entire section, but actually, these are kind of different things. Let us just get the section header separately. And for the time being, I will just get this part back, and I will refactor it later. Okay, so the actual main download interface and not a bunch of random crap is isolated, maybe. And error. There it is. It actually got pretty far before error. Let's see here. Format to name. Why do I have 4 workspaces if I'm only using 2? Format to name. The heck is format to name? All this random crap. Hey, there we go. That wasn't too bad. It still downloads correctly. Okay, the download interface is isolated. And that way I can replace that download interface with the other download interface in a less hideous way than I'm currently doing, which is the whole point. Okay, I'm just going to tolerate this section for now. I shouldn't, but I'm just going to tolerate this section for now. So this is all, yes, under a display none, as it should be. How come I prefer to play obscure games over known ones? Asked Joshua. I mean, I uh, kind of imagine myself to be so okay. There's two aspects of it. One of them is that I actually, as can be demonstrated by all of my experiences playing games, I'm just not that interested in playing video games in general. And so there has to be something to it other than the theoretical enjoyment of playing a video game because I don't particularly enjoy playing video games. And so the obscureness is just an aspect that sort of uh, makes it something that is just more sort of intriguing and interesting to me rather than uh, uh, like it's not it's yeah there are many things that it could have been and it's just something to be a sort of interesting change. Okay, now the main part of the video interface is actually this separate script here. Yeah. Which I will simply dump right into here. Oh yeah, and I didn't finish that thought. The other part of it is I do fancy that I'm to a certain extent sort of preserving or at least so I am there's like an archivist aspect to it. Like I am allowing people to have access to information on things that they otherwise A wouldn't know exist, and B, even if they know it exists, it is often so sort of technically complicated to make them work that they probably wouldn't like they wouldn't practically have access to them even if they did know they exist. And thus, being able to see a video of it is maybe a sort of poor excuse. It's, not exactly the same experience, but it's better than nothing. And, by hearing my sort of whining about it, uh, you're getting oh, the other formats list does not appear to be filled. Oh, of course, because other formats. Oh man, that's complicated. This is more complicated than I had realized. Well, it's not that complicated. If video games are not something you genuinely enjoy, then why not pursue something you do enjoy, as just enjoys as streaming or video content? The archival. So that is a strong enough motivation, Joshua, and that also makes me enjoy it. The it is so uh the aspect of it that I enjoy is a lot more to do with the uh how weird and hard to access and hard to play and just plain strange these games are than it does with with anything else. Sorry that the video keeps vanishing and just showing the background. That's me experiencing the virtual machine blues. Okay, I did not realize other formats was happening. That's not ideal. I had to make a recording that has video so that the video will be stored in my browser and I can actually test that. Testing, testing, testing. Okay. It does say it's saving one video stream. I am Not super. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was a little bit concerned because it didn't actually show it downloading yet. I didn't actually set the bitrate to anything reasonable, so. Just go away, Chrome. Not the sharing indicator. Okay, so theoretically this recording should have video in it. Which means when I attempt to download it, I'm actually asking an interesting question. Yeah, there we go. Hooray. Okay, so video is still showing up correctly. Yeah. So advanced processing is just going to be gone. This transcripts section I need to separate out. Of all the games I've played, which ones surprised you the most? Surprise. Star Ocean, Barver Battle Saga, games that are like more good than they deserved to be, or than they're sort of remembered as, like Forgotten Gem kind of things. Which is to say, those two. I would have to like look over, and actually, so yeah, the thing is, like, every game is sort of, every game is unique in its own way, even ones that I don't, that I find annoying, tend to have some surprise to them. And like Oxid is really, really clever. It's really, really evil, but it's also really, really clever. And I didn't know, like, a puzzle game that is Marble Madness, which I love, and Sokoban, which I love, that I had no idea existed. Like, whether or not I am glad to have played Oxid, which I can't decide, I'm certainly glad to know it. Okay, let's get the entire transcript section. Yes, transcript interface, good. I'm not sure whether, by the way, I'm going to be doing this kind of stream on the regular, but I might. Well, so Joshua, I don't have a very good memory of what games that's why I was saying, like, I would need to look up the list, because honestly, off the top of my head, I did not remember Bubba Is You, in spite of how much I enjoyed it. I really, so, I mean, there are video games I like. It's just that video games I like are in this fairly narrow category of puzzle games that don't fall into the trap of the puzzle is figure out what the puzzle is. There's so many annoying ass puzzle games where the puzzle is figure out what the puzzle is. Utterly unacceptable. And puzzle games that aren't like that are there are more puzzle games that aren't like that than that are. Let's not get too sort of ridiculous here. Most puzzle games are not that troublesome, but good puzzle games are unfortunately fairly rare. I think they're not that popular of a genre, and so yeah, like puzzle games I genuinely enjoy, and the puzzle games where, I mean, the trick to a good puzzle game is you want to have relatively few mechanics and yet a ton of intricacy from those few mechanics. And if you can pull that off, and Bubba Is You does that really well, like astonishingly well. If you can pull that off, then that's a game that I am absolutely going to love. But the downside of puzzle games is that even if I don't remember the game at all, nonetheless, coming back to it in the future, the puzzles are much easier because you just remember things. And so they're slightly sort of self-defeating. I guess self-defeating isn't the right word, but their replay value isn't usually that great. Tier list video of all the games I've played so far. If it's literally all the games I've played so far, it would be extraordinarily difficult for me to even collect that list because I've had multiple things where I play many games, but not for very long. So there are easily 1,000 games I've played on this channel, most of which I've had almost no experience with. But if it's a little bit more restrictive than that, I actually, like the way I organize my Let's Plays, it would be relatively straightforward to get the entire list. I just have my Let's Play directory that is, one directory per game, and they're literally numbered, like 1-FF7NES. And so I could just go over my backups and get all of the subdirectories of LP, and that would have the entire list of games. So it's not inconceivable, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's supremely likely. Unfortunately, I can't really test this one. Oh, there's an actual show DL here. Of course there is. Of course there is. That's fair, Malo. I think it's a I think it's just a duration thing that like I'm very forgetful, so maybe I'm the perfect example of why that's just a complete lie. But you know, enough time elapses. Gontman asks if I've ever gone into game dev. Gontman has obviously not heard of Contraptia. Go to contraptia.com right now, Gontman. At this exact instant, go to contraptia.com. This is like genuinely, this is a really good game. I was shocked by the ratio of like enjoyment of the actual game to effort I had to put into it. But as a more general answer to that question, I'm like a classic Unix hacker. So much of what I do is really low level that games are so high level that they don't hold that much interest to me much of the time. And what I've found is that when I consider writing a game, I very quickly get bogged down in like, ooh, I'm gonna implement a domain-specific language for this game. That's like not the point. And so yeah, I always want to get into the weeds because I'm just such a low-level guy. So it's a little bit leads me astray. Okay, so I need. How am I going to get show DL? I'll tell you how I'm going to get show DL. This is a profoundly lame way to do this. Oh, wait, that's not going to work. I can make this work. What is this? Why do I have this here? What's going on? Okay, so I want to actually export show DL. Okay, so that way this can import show DL. Not that I bothered to do so. Ugh. 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 Cross dependencies. Ugh. You know what? You know what I need to do? Um, I need to treat this like a library. What exactly is refactoring? Asked Malo. When you write sufficiently large code, it tends to end up just being, well, it turns into spaghetti code. Like it's just these giant files where everything is just like one giant line of code. Refactoring is factoring things out. And it's called refactoring because ideally you do it frequently, and so you factor and then you do some more changes and things get big again, and then you factor again. You refactor. Okay, so this is yeah, I mean it's not it's something that needs a name, but that you don't need a name to know that it needs to be done. Like it's just a normal part of programming because inevitably code becomes like that. Uh, but you know, lots of people wouldn't happen to know the name for it just because uh, it's just like yeah, it's just a normal part of programming. It's sort of almost unremarkable. Is this your first time seeing Contrapta, Joshua? I developed that in a fever dream like a week and a half ago. Okay, here we go. Why didn't you do this sooner? Asks Joshua. I mean, so the amount of time between me buying two chunky graphics cards that are capable of doing that and me implementing that is actually not that big. It's like a couple months. So the answer is even with my ridiculously chunky graphics cards, that takes like an hour to generate a single a single game puzzle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there's such a huge number of things that all needed to be together for this to be possible. Uh, and the other thing is, so uh, Malo and I play Wordle. And the first time that I got GPUs that were, you know, basically capable of doing AI image generation, we started making stupid games of, you know, AI images. And so I needed the incentive of newer, better graphics cards to go, I wonder if I can make an AI image generation game that's actually not crap. And so for all that I take all the credit for actually implementing Contraptia, because I did do all the stuff for implementing Contraptia, you know, Malo is owed a lot of credit for being my sounding board along the way and contributing ideas and making it a workable thing. Good luck, Joshua. I forget, was today's Contraptia a particularly hard one? No, yeah, today's Contraptia isn't too bad. Was it word 6 that's a bit abstract? Okay, I haven't actually implemented show other DLs, but I have show DL, which is the important part. And the actual thing that before I got lost I was doing was the transcription interface, so now I can put showDL into that. Now for this to error out. Ooh, such an early error. Oh dear. Unfortunately, the way that this all gets integrated in, it can sometimes be very unclear where anything is happening. We just need to find out how to... Yeah, exactly, follow. I mean, this will give away a previous puzzle solution, but why do AIs not know what the word dose means? They just have no clue. Gonna do some good old-fashioned lame debugging here. Yes, that's to be expected. Oh, I didn't actually show the main downloads. I didn't call that function. Quite silly debugging strategy I'm currently employing. What is going on? Oh, is it because show other DLs isn't actually being defined? Is that the error message it gives? No. Oh, or is it, did I not even... show main DLs. I did export it. This is just going to write object. This is quite useless. So like there is a DL header. What's DL header? That, okay. What am I trying to say? People have too little respect for printf debugging. Printf debugging actually does what you need like 99.9% of the time. And when like proper quote-unquote debuggers were invented, people went a little bit too nutso for proper debuggers when printf debuggers, like printf debugging is still quite an effective debugging strategy. What is going on here? So the thing is, like even calling it printf debugging, well, it's very C specific for one, but demeans it. So there's passive debugging and there's active debugging. And in a lot of situations, passive debugging is the best debugging you can do because if it's not as simple as like, well, I've traced it down to this location, so I need to know what's happened. So I need to know what's happening in that location, then passive debugging is usually the best you can do. And printf debugging is really just a sort of demeaning name for passive debugging. There we go. Okay. Standard software stupids. Oh my god. Ah! Okay, now I'm getting the error after fetch video, which was probably in transcript, which is what I was actually writing, which is where I expect errors to be happening. I did get show DL from there. Interesting. So show main DLs is correctly showing the main downloads. Video interface is working. Transcript interface is exactly what I'm testing, of course. Let me just make sure that this actually is. Yes. Other formats I don't expect to be working right now. That's fine. I had an error on apply. There's no applies here. Yeah, the error I should be having is that recinfoextra isn't defined. Mobile is not defined. Am I getting the latest errors? What's happening here? This should be the only thing using mobile. Maybe. I don't know why the video interface would be using mobile. Oh, but the main interface probably is using mobile because I'm an idiot. Yes. Oh, but that's after the fact. Okay. Oh, wait. The reason this isn't doing anything is because there's nothing for it to do. I didn't capture I need to remember to like record with all of the features so that they'll actually all be there. Live captions, please. God, I'm an idiot. It's actually working fine, and I just didn't even recognize it. Dan, the answer is that this is not a normal stream. This is a this is a development fun time hour. I might do, I don't know, depending on whether people like it, I might do more development fun time hours, but not on this channel. I got a separate channel for that. I want to, yes, make sure. Okay, good. Just making sure that it is actually capturing captions. Okay, so now this download should actually show. There we go. Now I'll get relevant errors anyway. Interesting. I'm still getting that one. This is a recording, and I just predicted what you would say live. What? Oh, is that what the transcript captured or something? Okay. Given that the transcript interface, yeah, doesn't have any applies in it. It definitely needs recinfoextra. Oh. You know, sometimes I just say words, and sometimes they make sense, and sometimes they don't. Okay. Doing something obviously ridiculous. Interesting. Yeah, it didn't make it to other formats. Oh, damn it! Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. This is my own fault. I have all of the code symlinked in, but that means anytime I add a new file, I have to re-symlink it. There it is. Okay. Has captions. So there we go. Now I'm getting to the real meat of the matter. Okay, so it definitely needs recinfo extra, and it needs has caption file. This is a sign of bad refactoring here, passing all this crap into the refactored code. But even with that, I am still better off than I was. This, Dan, is for Ennuicastr. Okay, advanced processing is just going to go away because that's being replaced by better advanced processing, and other formats is what I need to fix now. Yes, transcript is there. Okay, yes. I'm just deleting this. Bye. Dan, even within my online persona, my compartmentalization is so ridiculous that like tons of people don't know. Like they know me for different like at whereweasel.com, which is the business entity behind Ennuicastr. It's like you're looking for Ennuicastr. It's the business entity behind Ennuicastr, but then down at the bottom, Yahweasel also does this stuff, and people who know Yahweasel from YouTube probably have no idea the developer aspect exists, and people who know Yahweasel as a developer have no idea the YouTube aspect exists. Okay, this, yes, is all that I should need for the other formats. Oh my god, look at how much more elegant this this was just like a giant cluster of crap. Now it's just one brief thing. God damn it, Molo. While I'm at it, go ahead and put this where it belongs. That way I can even get rid of that, and now it's just calling these functions, and that is a refactoring. there's no going to be about it, Dan. This is a live piece of software that's been in use for like a year and a half. uh, uh, this is a online recording service. It's a web browser based recording service. Okay, those now belong here because they're going to be part of this interface. This isn't going to be in DLX anymore because DLX is stupid. Like I said, people who know me for one aspect don't even know the other aspect exists. Okay. Download processor is in place, so now it is just, quote unquote, this is the, I'll still call it DLX. I have no better name for it. So this is why I'm doing this refactoring. Like, look at all of this. This is mostly the same code as was in the other downloader, but duplicated because I didn't have it factored out nicely. So having it factored out nicely will allow me to have just a single downloader instead of two. My dev funtime hour is coming up on an hour and a half, but I would like to actually finish this refactoring, so I'm probably going to finish this refactoring before ending dev funtime hour. Yes, none of this. Yes, this is... God, this is all duplication. Holy shit. The actual download interface is so tiny now. It's just this little bit at the end. Okay. That, I suppose, should be it. It's no longer really necessary for this to be in .dot/dl since that's where I live now. Yep, that is the way of things, Malo. I mean, so there's bits of Ennuicastr that are very ugly. That some of them are like unavoidable, and some of them are not. So like a lot of the core of this is this very Unixy shell script cook, and I can't make it anything but a shell script because it is very Unixy. But as a consequence, like it's this giant shell script. Well, it's not that giant. It's only 600 lines. But I've done my best to at least make it like kind of modular. There's always just bits where like this can be fixed, this can't, and it's just important to remember to actually do refactoring when it can be done and not just go, there's no sort of direct market advantage to refactoring, so screw it. Weasel breaks into Sony Live, says Druk. I get the feeling that when I do one of these streams just on the dev channel, it's going to be a lot less people watching. Maybe I should do it on all the channels. You do Java gambling games. Yeah, but that's an indirect advantage, Malo. If you can't put a dollar value on it, then it's not worth doing. So in fact, so much of this is actually... Do I even use, like, the recording ID? Yes, I do. Okay, so the point of this Nox variable here is to select whether to use the DLX interface or not. So I need to make that selection. So what do I need? Yes. If it's purchased, and Nox isn't set, put this in a variable. It's very easy to secretly code in things when you're coding on a live stream in open source software. It's the condition I just wrote. It is a little bit silly that I'm always loading the normal download interface, but since it's actually providing these library functions, I think I just need to leave it. And then, if we're not using DLX, we will show the other downloads. Cross your fingers. Boy, howdy, that certainly didn't work, did it? Kind of feels like it didn't try. It didn't do anything. Oh, it's possible that, oh yeah, okay. There was just errors. So we have at least safe name. Do we have any of the other names? No. Okay, so let's bring in safe name. I don't like making these all parameters, but I genuinely don't know a better way of doing that for now. Yes! Yes! Okay, a little bit of the header information I left in the other download. I left that in my other downloader. Yes, yes. Very domestic, Malo. Bravo. So let's separate out the header part and just have that. That's all header, that's all header. This is not header. Error. Oh, I didn't export it. Okay, the absence of space there is going to drive me slightly batty, but I can fix that very easily. Yes! 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 So it will show this download interface with all of its advanced everything, in the case that it can. And it will show the older download interface, if that's all it has, but then all of this stuff that is a separate download, it will show nonetheless. The transcript, actually, the transcript is handled by the new interface, so I guess I can remove that too. So literally, yeah, all I need is video, which eventually I'll have in the same interface as well. But look at that. Look at that. And also just look at this interface. Like, you can get to all your stupid shitty formats, but you can also get to the obvious formats. You can see all the tracks. You can choose to download both with and without noise reduction or volume normalization. I'll have echo cancellation in there quite soon. You can choose to download nothing, which is a pretty useful option. Yes, Malo, for bad, awful people, there is a light mode. Uh, 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 I had I knew that to even show that I had to, because I have double dark mode on. I have dark reader that makes everything dark mode, and then I also had the sites dark mode on. That's it. That's what I wanted to achieve today, and that's done. I don't really keep those stats, Malo. But it certainly works on mobile devices. Uh, um, period. Full thought there. All of the like everything it does to work on mobile devices is really just working on small screens. So like it's more just if I make the screen super narrow, does it all fit properly? And you might have even noticed that it slightly changed its formatting there to fit into a narrow screen. So but obviously the main on Ennuicastr interface, that's a different question, but even there it does it all works. Okay, let's add DL interface. Yeah, so now that's separated into a header. And we have DLX. And I should be able to just get rid of DLX recursively. Oh, that was the only thing that was there. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to change. I'll just change my git ignore now. That is a built file. Yeah, Malo, I thought about it. I so don't want to implement like a login system. I genuinely considered just making it so that you can download your, like you can essentially save to a file, but that's a pain in the ass. So, yeah, it's something I considered, but essentially rejected as too annoying. Tell you what, that was my task, and I just finished it. So today's task is done. Yeah, I get it, Mullen. Like there's good reason to want such a feature, but it's just it's like a surprising pain in the ass. Okay, so I did my programming task for today. In future, I will be recording on, or I if I stream development fun time hour, I will be streaming it on my development channel, which I guess I'll have to link somewhere. But on Twitch, it's Yahweasel Dev. Okay, well, I'm gonna go think about preparing dinner. It's a little bit early yet, and be done with Dev for today. At least with this Dev for today. Next time I do Dev Fun Time Hour, maybe it'll be more with the actual DLX interface now that it's properly integrated. Goodbye!